Thank you for joining us for Dove Talks. My name is Koya Tompkins, and today we're talking about education, and specifically how graduate students at the University of North Dakota are connecting with small business and nonprofits to get real-life experience. Today we get the fortune of talking with Chris Nelson, the Dean of the Graduate School of Studies here at University of North Dakota, which is, as you know, UND is a major partner of ours. We're very fortunate. So how did your role as the Dean of Graduate Studies interface with the nonprofit world?
Well, because of the Accelerate the Industry program, I'd started working with Becca Kruger actually in EDC. And I asked her at some point, I said, well, we've been talking a lot about industry partners. What about nonprofits? This can also provide our students with professional skill development. So it was really Becca who then connected me with the two leaders of the Nonprofit Business Alliance, and I laid out with them what I'd like to do, that I'd like to support nonprofits through supplying interns who would benefit the nonprofit, but also get good professional experience. And students can get every bit as good a professional training in a nonprofit setting. You might even say better or more diverse because of the number of hats you might have to wear in a nonprofit setting.
True, that's so true.
As you can get in a large company.
And so I said, sign me up. And then you threw me this amazing grad student. She's actually helped produce our show today, so that's kind of fun. I was really intrigued about kind of the model that you've set up for this whole program and kind of what it's meant for UND and what it means to businesses in the area to have this program.
Accelerate the Industry, which is how we resulted in placing Shaley with you and how I ended up in front of the Nonprofit Business Alliance that day. It's to provide what is sometimes a gap in professional skills training for graduate students. You're in the classroom, you're doing academic research, you're not necessarily in a professional workplace environment.
Well, it's been fun for us too, because one of the things that was very attractive to me hearing you talk was that we actually would be able to connect with a grad student. So someone that's, advancing their career a little bit further.
Well, I thought it was important. I'd done a lot of work with industry partners and a little bit of work with government agencies, but I hadn't really reached out to nonprofits yet. And I do think it's important that UND in ways large and small support the community, and nonprofits do a lot of that good work to support those most in need, and nonprofits can provide the same professional settings and the same skill building and training opportunities as anyone else.
What are some of the changes you've seen in the workforce as it relates to COVID? When you think about the workforce and the education system kind of still trying to recover from that and some of the impacts of it.
I think what it's really changed is a sense of what work means. And we have a lot more students now. When I am trying to place interns, one of the first questions I have to anticipate, and I don't always remember, is, can this be remote? Because that's now a question in a way in which it never was before. At the same time, I worry a little bit about what that might mean, especially because some of the people skills that you build in a professional environment, can you do that in the same way in a virtual environment? Some of the best meetings I've had where I've gotten the most done are even just talking with someone outside the meeting room for a few minutes before we go in. It's much harder to do that in a virtual environment.
Hallway conversations that you have. Yep.
So what do we lose from that? And maybe we won't. Maybe it's too early to tell, right? But that's something that in terms of moving forward with these internships, working with businesses and nonprofits, what are those opportunities going to look like, and what will they provide to both the business and the student in a remote or hybrid environment?
But I'm curious for you too, as the leader of the grad school, in addition to internships and partnering with the business community, what are some of the other things you do to help advance students in their career?
So, I had an interview with the chief HR officer of C.H. Robinson. Her name's Angie Freeman, and she's an alum of UND. She gave a talk for Accelerate the Industry. People call them the soft skills, right? You're aware of those? She calls them the power skills. that these are the skills that will position you for long-term success. Things like creativity, communication, things like adaptability, and she also mentioned empathy. She calls it a power skill because of how it enables you to work well within a diverse team. If you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, you can interact with them better. And I have to believe that plays a role in your work as well.
Well, I so appreciate Chris not only coming to the Nonprofit Business Alliance and recruiting me to recruit Shaylee, but also just how much you and the university are working with nonprofits and small business to really help build a stronger workforce for Grand Forks County. Because I want to keep these, what I call young guns, I want to keep them in Grand Forks. So.
And we couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, we're producing all this talent at the
Yeah.
university, and why would we want it to go somewhere else?
Right. Well, thank you so much for being here and taking time out of your grad students to be here. And